My name's John O'Farrell. I was born in Indianapolis. Me and my friends always called it Indian No Place. Nevertheless, we went to see the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, worked as a fireman, traveled in Europe extensively, visited 45 countries, climbed the pyramids, got married, have 7 wonderful children, lived overseas for 17 years, taught as a university professor for 6 years, got kicked out of the country, came back to America, and now I'm driving a school bus. The hippie culture and the movement of the 60s and 70s was so anti-establishment. It was against everything. Burning draft cards, the American flag, protesting against the war, and every value that our parents might have had. One of those values was getting ahead, having a secure job, doing something with your life, saving up. Security, security, security. And everybody threw that out. I grew up in Speedway, Indiana, outside of Indianapolis, and my closest personal friend was David Howard. Now, his mom and dad liked to travel. They'd go out and take trips and stuff like that, but my mom and dad, O'Farrell, didn't. They were real homebodies. Stay at home, work in the yard. But lo and behold, David and his family asked me to go on a trip with them, and I'll never forget it. I was probably 17. Him and I stayed in an attic. I said, "Whoa, man, I'm so excited, Dave. Just take a picture of me pointing at where I'm at on the map." Something about seeing the water, Lake Erie, meet the horizon, it just did something for me. I knew that I wanted more of this. I was a fireman for 2.5 years at the strong request of my parents from the time I was like 21 to 23. That was a time when lots of people didn't have the values and the aspirations of their parents, of the older generation, and of what was called the establishment. I had an establishment career track job, being a professional fireman. I could retire at like age 42 or 52, 30 years and out. It was one of the hardest things that I ever did, going home and sitting down with my mom and dad and said, "I'm sorry, but I'm going to quit the fire department, and I just got to go. I want to go travel. I want to go to Europe. I want to see the world. I'm going to quit." It's probably the boldest thing that I ever did. It wasn't their desire, but I went ahead and did that. And they said, "Well, okay, if you have to do that, go ahead." More or less with my mom and dad's blessings, I did quit the fire department and I set off from Europe. I ended up going through 15 countries, all the way from Amsterdam to Istanbul and from Istanbul to Morocco. Traveling a lot, spending 4 months there. So yeah, Europe was a big thing for me, but it wasn't over with me. I got back to America after that trip and actually set off. Mom and Dad were hoping that I would settle down, but I wasn't about ready to settle down. I guess I was already struck with wanderlust or something. I traveled quite pervasively in America and then that Europe trip. So there was a book that just rocked the kind of the subculture, the hippie culture. Jonathan Livingston Seagull. I want to be free to go where I want to go, to do what I want to do, and to be who I was meant to be. I read that thing. It was like a Bible to me or something. Nevertheless, I would travel and say, man, should I be getting married? I knew that I had that desire to get married someday. Dreaming about a large family, I don't think I ever envisioned that. When Connie and I got married, we envisioned having 5 children. So 5 kids it was. We agreed on that. And my wife and I went to Uzbekistan in 1989. I was a graduate student at the University of Washington and went on a graduate exchange program to Tashkent State University. I had a strong desire to stay there. Somehow, a desire was there to stay long-term and to do whatever I felt that I needed to do in that country. And I was out in this very ancient place. It's called Afrasiab. I know that the old pilgrims who traveled a lot built altars. Yeah, I got down on my knees and built an altar that day. I put these stones and these rocks down on the ground. I said, let's see, we want to have 5 kids. We didn't have any of it. There's a stone for me and my wife. That's 2 stones. And then for 5 kids, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I built a little altar there in this very ancient archaeological site and just kind of prayed a prayer in my heart that we would be able to stay long-term in that country and accomplish our goals and also be blessed with a family of 5 kids. But I put 7 stones down there, but actually we ended up having 7 wonderful children. We lived for 17 years in Uzbekistan, and we all cried a lot the day we left. Like big. We were kicked out of the country with many other people. So it was a political thing, and it was really hard on all of us. everybody, including the kids, they were as distraught as me and Connie were. Stephen Covey, who wrote the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, says it this way: what happens if you climb that ladder all of your life and finally you get up high enough to see what's on the other side, the side that you've been striving towards all of your life, and you get a clear view over there, and it wasn't really what you were looking for at all? I was looking for happiness, for peace, and for hope. Big core values of the subculture movement. I'm not saying that it's wrong to have a career or to have security. All those things are really important, but I kind of went at it in a different way. And I probably have never regretted the course that my life took. I mean, I want my kids to be proud of me and to think that I accomplished something in my life. It's really important to me. I mean, every dad wants that. And stuff, and if they look up to me or value what my life contained, what it stood for, things like that, I feel that I did what I had to do, and it turned out for the better. I have no doubts that that's so.